it got to a certain point that I just couldn't even fathom what I was feeling. It was so painful. Hi guys, it's Sonia. I want to welcome you to my channel once again, and if you're new, welcome. So today we're going to be continuing on the topic of pregnancy, and we're doing part 2, and this is where I talk about my birthing experience. So I'm really excited to get right into it. If you're a first-time mother, it doesn't matter how much someone tells you how their experience was or what to expect, or oh, the pain is going to be so horrible. You just never really know until you go through it yourself. Preparing yourself is good, but really you never know what to expect because it's a first time. All right, so let's get started. Around the last month, I was going to see my doctor every week. And so my due date came around, my due date passed, but I wasn't dilating. On Tuesday, around 12 p.m., we went to my doctor's appointment. And we did the usual. He checked to see if I was dilated, and he told me I was 1 centimeter dilated. Mind you, I was already past due, and so I think I was about a week past due actually. I was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna have you go home maybe for another 2-3 days, and then just come back and see me, and we'll see if you have dilated a little bit more. But then he changed his mind. Yeah, so he told me, just go ahead and go to the hospital, and we're gonna get you induced. And you'll probably give birth maybe the next day or the next 2 days or something like that. And so I was expecting to be in the hospital for a really long time. When he told us to go straight to the hospital, I was really excited. I mean, I was so nervous as well because it was finally happening. And so we drove back home, got my hospital bag, and then we went straight to the hospital. It was like maybe 20 minutes from my apartment. When we got there actually weren't any rooms available, and so they put me in this like makeshift room and changed into the hospital garb, and then they induced me right there. It was very chill. I was just on my phone, calling everybody, oh guys, I'm finally in the hospital. When the room was finally available, they moved me into that room, and I was just relaxing. I was like, so far so good. I mean, I was trying to think positive, and previously I had done some, I guess, breathing exercises for when the contractions really wasn't dilating that fast, and so I was expecting to have a really, really long delivery. We got to the hospital around 12:30. It wasn't until probably around 6, 7 that I started, I was feeling contractions, but they were so small. They were like small waves that would come like every 30 to maybe an hour. Well, yeah, like every 30 minutes I'd feel small, like itty bitty contractions, and it wasn't bad at all. So I was like, okay, not bad. And so like around 6, 7, that's when it started feeling like menstrual cramps. And I was like, okay, this isn't bad. I can still do this, It just feels like period cramps. Then the contractions started coming a lot quicker and more intense. And so it started feeling like really, really bad period cramps. And at that point I was like, okay, it's getting serious. And then they progressively got a lot worse and a lot faster, to the point where they were coming like every 5 minutes. And oh my gosh, I was like, is this for real? Okay, so when I told you that you should have a plan before you go to the hospital, I don't necessarily think it applies to first-time moms, unless you have your mind super set on your plan. But I had told myself, my doctor, I told him, you know what, I don't want any medication unless it's absolutely necessary. I want it to be a natural birth. I want to be in the moment. I want to feel everything. I just wanted it to be 100% natural. But when I tell you that when those contractions started hitting me like hardcore, oh my gosh, I really started to rethink my plan. And on top of that, my blood pressure started rising. So they were like, we're gonna have to give you something for your blood pressure because it's really, really high and it's dangerous for you and your baby. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. The contractions got so bad. They were so bad, I started crying. Yo, I was crying, like bawling. I was like, I can't do this. This is so painful. So the nurse came in and I was like, I changed my mind. I want that epidural. I want it. And then she was like, well, it's not time yet. And I was like, okay. I guess I can try to, hold it a little longer. And it was probably the most painful thing I have ever experienced in my life. So the nurse came in, I'm like, please, I need the epidural. I need it. I'm in so much pain. And then she was like, oh, I know, and I'm so sorry, but it's not time yet. You will probably never experience anything worse than contractions. Probably the reason that I thought I could do it without the epidural was because I was watching so many YouTubers who had home natural births, and it seemed so easy for them. I mean, not necessarily easy, but I was like, okay, well, if they can do it, then why can't I? But no. No. I couldn't do natural because that was the most, I don't even know how to describe that pain. I can't describe it because it got to a certain point that I just couldn't even fathom what I was feeling. It was so painful. Like, I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. Like, I didn't know what to, I was trying to breathe. I was trying to do the stupid breathing exercises, but they were not helping. I was trying to listen to relaxing music. Yo, nothing was working. I don't know if it's because my blood pressure was going overly high, but at that time it was like hitting the roof. It was so high, and so they finally were like, okay, we're gonna give you the epidural, but it's a little early, but just because your blood pressure is extremely high, it's safer to just give you the epidural now. And that was also a really weird experience. When the needle was entering my back, it just felt so like, it was such a weird feeling. It was still hurting for about 30 minutes, and then I started to relax and the pain was gone and I could finally breathe. You guys. And it lasted about maybe 2 hours. Yeah, I think it lasted maybe about 2.5 hours or something like that. And then it started hurting again. Well, they gave me this little remote that was connected to the epidural. Every time I would push, it would administer a new dosage of the medication of the epidural. But I didn't know I was supposed to click it anytime I felt pain, and so I was sitting here because I was waiting for the nurse to come back in the room, and she was taking forever to come back in, and by the time she came back, I was like, hey, can I click again so I can get another dosage of the epidural? And she was like, yeah, of course, that's what it's for. That's what the little clicker is for, so you can have it anytime the pain comes back. And so I was clicking, but the pain wasn't going. And so I was clicking and clicking. And that pain was not going. And so when the nurse came back in, I was like, I'm still feeling pain. Like, what's going on? It's not working. And then she was like, well, you're supposed to feel some kind of pain, because if you don't feel some kind of pain, then the baby won't be delivered. I was so irritated, because I'm like, then what's the point of the epidural? Like, if I'm still in pain. Okay, so they finally checked me again, and I had dilated 10 centimeters. And then they were like, okay, it's time to push. And I was like, oh my gosh, the baby's coming. I was like, the baby is coming. My man was there with me, and I mean, he had been there with me throughout the whole thing. So around 12, he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go home, get some rest, just call me when it's time to push. By the time he took a shower, got in bed, I think he probably only slept an hour, and then I called him and I was like, yo, we're ready to push. Like, get here ASAP. I told my nurse, I'm like, I'm not gonna have this baby without him here. I'm not gonna have it without him here. I want him to be here with me. He was like, okay, well, just let him know and we can start pushing once he gets here. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So I called him, and literally he rushed. He told me that he was running through red lights. He arrived, and then we started pushing. We were pushing for 10 seconds and then stopping, and then pushing for 10 seconds and then stopping. Okay, and then let's take a break. And then we take a break, and the nurse would come back, and then she'd be like, okay, we're gonna push again. And it kind of went on for a while. Finally, the baby's head was visible. And so they were like, okay, yay, we can see the baby's head. We're gonna go ahead and call your doctor. At this point, I was just simply working with my nurses. So they called my doctor. I think it took about maybe 15 to 20 minutes to arrive. And when he arrived, I was really glad to see him, actually. By the way, you guys, I loved my OBGYN. He was so awesome. He made me feel so calm throughout the whole thing. Yeah, I had a really good experience with him. If you ask me, why did you pick a male doctor over female? Originally, I wanted to go with a female doctor, but I read so many great reviews about him. And so I was like, why does it matter? Men or women, it doesn't matter. I just want to have a good experience, and he was the best. But yeah, when he arrived, I felt so much better, because I was like, okay, he's here. We got to pushing again, and it was the same, like push for 10 seconds, rest, push for 10 seconds and rest. The contractions hurt more than the pushing. And so I was just like, you know what, let's just get through it. I was pushing, and the head popped out. Everybody was like cheering, yay, the head is out. And so they were like, okay, let's do like 2 more pushes, but push real hard. And that was the easy part. I did the final push. I think I pushed twice, and the baby just, it felt like water just just slithered out. And then I think they took just a few seconds to wipe her down, and then they put her in my arms. And it was surreal, because I was looking down on her. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, is she really mine? Like, she was so small, so precious. And so I held her for probably about an hour on my chest, and we were just, I mean, it was such a beautiful feat. It was so beautiful. At that point, they were just like sewing me back up. I don't know, they were cleaning, I don't know what they were doing. I was just so focused on my baby. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I actually have a little human being. Like, I have a human being. I was with my baby. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have now watched my first video on my first pregnancy experience, and this is before my deliveries, please go ahead and check it out. Thank you once again for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you guys next time.